Yes, indeed. It is Randy here. We are here for the Street University Live Street Talk podcast, and I am joined by none other than my homie L Fresh. How you doing, big man? What's happening?
I'm good, bro. It's good to be back in the place.
Yeah, man. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, because it is a place that was your home for so long. So we're going to talk about your connection to the Street University. Before we even get into that, though, how are you, bro? What has been happening in your world? What's going on?
I'm good, bro. A lot's been happening. It's just been constant movement, constant evolution. Always working on music, of course. I think that goes without saying. And also just building my business, bro. Building the energy around and the framework around what I do musically. Just constantly working on that, getting better at that, and evolving that formula. And just man, bro, just always staying busy, just trying to find ways to keep moving forward.
As long as I know you, and I know you a while now, you've always been a busy dude. You've always been like 100 miles an hour, like nonstop.
Yeah, nothing's changed.
I want to take it back, especially because we got like a young audience that tunes into this stuff, and a lot of people might not even be familiar with your work. So I want to bring them back a little bit further. And kind of let's talk a little bit about your upbringing in Sydney or beyond, and kind of what life was like for you even before all this hip hop stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So I was born here in the city of Liverpool. I've always lived in Southwest Sydney, between Liverpool and Campbelltown. So that's why I represent Southwest Sydney on my chest all the time. I've just kind of lived in the two big hubs of the Southwest my whole life. Was born to parents who had just migrated to Australia from Punjab, which is in the northern part of modern day India. And we've always lived out here in the Southwest. I grew up with a younger brother, a bunch of cousins, and for me, before music, I was just like any other kid from the area. Like I just had big dreams of wanting to do something with myself. And first that was in sport and athletics, and then eventually it became music. And
tell us a little bit about that sports stuff. What kind of sports were you into?
So I was initially, as a kid, it was like athletics. So it was running, bro. And then I was like, when I told my dad, and I was inspired by like watching like Kathy Freeman and shit, I was like, bro, that's crazy. I want to be an Olympic athlete. And I said that to my dad. I was in like primary school or something. I want to be an Olympic athlete. And he was like, used to me having these big ideas, and I think he got to this point where he was like, okay, well, you're at an age now where if you're going to articulate an idea, you're going to have to put something behind it. So he was like, okay, you want to be an Olympic athlete, runner? Okay, cool. Let's go train. I was like, sweet. He put me in the car. We went to the local park, and we got there, and he was like, all right, Charlie, like run around the oval like 10 times. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't really want to do that.
Change your mind real quick.
I don't really want it. I don't know if I'm that passionate about running, I just liked the idea. And I liked the idea of I've always loved the underdog story, like especially coming from Western Sydney where we're spoken about, we're counted out, like there's all these perceptions about who we are. And then also on top of that, being from a community that is not visible to most people. Like we're not represented in many things, and we're always known for just, bro, people know my community for driving cabs or working at convenience stores, like the stereotype. So it's like, or working in professional services or whatever it might be. So coming into this space, it was like I had a chip on my shoulder and I was the underdog from the get-go. So whatever it was, whether it's sport, whether it was music, I always carried that energy with me and wanted to tell the stories that my family never got the opportunity to tell.
There's a fire in my chest, man, I'm feeling it. It's alive and it drives me to excel at this. So I rise up, and when I finally get a bit, I'm reminded that I'm still a second-class citizen.
They tell me to go home, but I come from here. I can see it in their eyes, they don't want me here. They tell me to play high, but the game ain't fair. Given a level playing field, I make it rain out here. We were running a race and you gave me a handicap. I turn around and have one of my legs detached. Then so you set it up for me the best you could. That ain't justice, winning on justice good.
So yeah, initially it was athletics, and then it was skateboarding at one point, and then it became cricket for a long period of time. That just kind of was
Feeding into the stereotype
Yeah,
now,
feeding into the
brother.
stereotype. It was like the biggest game me and my cousins were playing all the time. Like that was what we do, bro. It's just like there are some things in your communities that is a given, and that's the game that we're playing at the house.
Cricket was so foreign to me growing up. Like it's funny because at the park near our house, we used to have like a mad big park near where we live. And we'd always see the dudes in the whites, and
Yeah.
it was always the Jamaican dudes or the Trinidadian cats, and you'd be like, "Yo, what?" Like we had never understood what they were doing. It never made any sense to us, but they were there every week playing it, yo. Like so devoted to that game, yo.
Yeah, and I love the story of like the West Indies coming up in cricket, because that's a real that's a real kind of like sticking it to the man story too. You know, there's a real kind of like cultural, political kind of like movement around cricket in the West Indies region, Caribbean history, which is dope for anyone who's keen on that they could dive into that for sure.
Word. So you went through your sports stage with all the different athletics and cricket and all and skateboarding, and then I know this is only because I know you personally and we've chatted before. I know at some point you were kind of like you were going into the legal stuff, like you were studying hard to become a lawyer, which is like stuff that like most kids are like, whoa, that's huge. So that's like hardcore dedication. And I'm sure it was dedication that your parents were really proud of, and a journey that they were like, my son's gonna become a lawyer, and there would have been a real push there. What first of all, what was what was the factor in the decision to kind of go like, I'm gonna put that on ice and I'm not gonna do that right now, and I'm gonna put my energy here, and then how did your parents react to that?
Yeah, it's a big question. So I just to lead into it, I picked up making hip hop music while I was still in high school. So I was about 14, and I was just a huge fan and wanted to. As soon as I started listening to music and diving into hip hop music, I started making it almost immediately and learning how to do it and learning along the way about who my favorite artists were, who inspired them, where's the music come from, like what's the history behind it. Like the more I was listening to it, the more I was diving into that, and it was just inspiring me to be as best as I could be, not just as an artist but as a human being. And what it made me realize was that it tapped into that part of me that, like I said, always had a big vision and always wanted to do something. I've always wanted to be a person who could have an impact, and for me, being a part of this, the community here in Western Sydney, Southwest Sydney, was a big part of, where I wanted to have that impact. And so when I finished high school and I was making music, by then, from 14 to 18, I'd done like, bro, maybe 3 EPs and like 4 or 5 mixtapes or something like that. Like just a shitload of music that I'd done.
Damn, I know
house.
some 40-year-old artists that still haven't done that.
Well, I just did a lot, and no one will ever see those projects. Like
one day, come on.
For real, I got the CDs at my house, at my parents' house, like in the garage. No one's seeing them. They're terrible, but it was practice. Like,
do you think you'll ever leak them out one day and give that to the fans, to see
some
that
people,
journey?
I'm just gonna put it out there. Some people have got them. A very select few people have got them, and it was out of respect for the journey that they have, out of respect for how much they've contributed to my journey, that I gifted them them terrible projects.
Dope.
But so like I did a lot of music, and so by the time it came where I finished school, and that was the thing, music helped me focus. Like music helped me focus on, as funny as it is, it didn't distract me from school. It made me want to do better at school. Like I remember using music to help me memorize like essays and shit. Like I would write a rap about whoever I was writing about, and then pull that out to
memory.
That's
work. That's the way that a lot of people use to remember math and facts.
Yeah, so it actually helped me focus in school, and so I did quite well, and I got to the point where like I had opportunity to select where I wanted to go for uni and what I wanted to do, and I got a scholarship because I did well. So I was like, okay, well, let me think about it. What do I want to do? And I was, at the time, I'd read a lot about, and I was really inspired by Nelson Mandela.
Yep.
I was really inspired by people in history who made huge impacts in the world. And one thing that a lot of these people had in common was that they studied law.
Yep.
And I thought about it and I was like, that's a good skill set to have. You know, I never kind of went into it with the intention of like I'm going to become a lawyer at the end of this, and I think that maybe differentiated me from my peers in the group when I started studying, because I wasn't going there with the expectation of like I'm going to finish this, I'm going to get a job, and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z.
Were your parents aware of this the whole time?
Like I'm probably, you know what, I probably would have said it to them, but would they have
Yeah.
heard me? Maybe not. Like
Yeah.
I'm not too sure, but I went into it with that mindset where it's just I just want to learn something. I want to do something that's going to give me a good foundation and good grounding and can serve me well wherever I choose to go. And so I studied law, and it was tough, bro. But same thing, it was music that really helped me focus through, you know, university, and got me through it, man. Because it was hard. Like it wasn't easy, and there were times where you know you're doing a course like tax law, which, bro, I never want to do. Like it's just the most convoluted thing in the world. Like the most complicated thing, and I was like, I don't know how I passed. I think I just passed it, but like I'm not a numbers guy. I'm like a creative guy, so it was the worst for me. But music got me through it. You know, like music helped me just stay motivated. And so when I finished uni, I was like, okay, it's time for me to. I felt like I'd built up enough skills musically and enough of the business know-how to be like, okay, I want to try and have a good crack at this. Now that I've got this degree behind me, it was a law degree and an arts degree, so I was like, I got degrees behind me. If I stuff this up, then at least I can fall. Like I got nothing to lose,
Got
really.
something
I
to
was
fall
like, I got
back on.
nothing to lose. So it just it made my hunger 10 times greater, because I was like, I got literally have nothing to lose. So, yeah, I was just like, okay, I'm putting my head down. I'm going music. And my parents' initial reaction was definitely shock. I mean, because they had no, you know, I never hid music from them, and they were supportive of me because they saw it and you know motivate me to be better across the board. So they weren't against it. But when I decided to go full time with it, it did create like you know, challenging conversations. But I got to give them credit, man, because like they never like, you know, they always gave me an opportunity to share my perspective, and then they never stopped me from doing anything.
Big shout out to all the supportive
know,
parents out there. Straight up.
And they probably still don't fully understand what I'm doing, but they're supportive because they've seen what I've done, and they're supportive because they know it makes me happy. They know I'm doing good out in the community. They know I'm doing good for my community, and I'm able to eat. Like I've been doing this full time now 5 years, and I've never missed a bill. You know, like I'm good. So, and that's just blessings. Like, and I'm so grateful for that. But, and I'm doing something that they never saw that as a viable opportunity or path. It was not a part of their worldview. So for them to be where they are and to have rode this journey with me, even though we've had challenging conversations about it, you know, I've got to give them so much respect for that.
My mother said to me, only take what you need. Eat, sleep, dream, repeat. Eat, sleep, dream, repeat. My mother said to me, only take what you need. Eat, sleep, dream, repeat. Eat, sleep, dream.
Man, I was one of them kids that never listened. Had a mother trying to share that elder wisdom, but I was busy planning schemes, trying to shape a vision. Chasing status, all that mattered was a high position. Being a man, I had a plan to reach the top. Swinging from the jungle gyms in the pop. Mother said, watch your predators in the dark. Make decisions with your head, but don't forget your heart. But I'm not praising mighty God, and bring that cash to me. I'm just another trying to make a nice salary. Say mama, that's quite a view, but it ain't for me. Eat it out, count me in like a calorie. I've been conditioned to always make some cash off it. For them fat pockets, be overweight with the mad profits is catastrophic. Cause now I'm killing off the competition, and we're like animals facing extinction.
Perhaps the younger person that might be watching that doesn't have that, that has the parents that's like, no, you're doing this.
Yeah.
This is what, you know, is your path kind of thing. And you're like, no, I want to do this right here.
Yeah.
And it creates that kind of divide there. Like,
Yeah.
like how would you have dealt with that in that
Yeah.
situation?
Well, I mean, because I was I was kind of in that situation, but like I said, I still had the opportunity to have conversations, and I think that's where it starts and ends. Is like the one thing that I didn't always approach it this way, but over time I learned to approach it from this way. Was let me see it from like being in their shoes, because like I don't know what their life journey has been. Like I don't know
Yeah.
what they have been through. I don't know like whether they've had to sacrifice their own dreams just so I could have the opportunity to do mine. So let me just think about what their perspective is, and approach them with a level of respect, undying love and respect, because like I'm not here without them. You know, regardless of the situation, whether for kids out there, you know, who might not have the best relationship with their parents, at the very least, you're here because of them. At the very least,
Yep.
you know.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, well, let me just approach it from a level of respect. If this is my mom, this is my dad, and try and acknowledge that this is just something that they may never understand, but that's fine. My goal isn't to try to make them understand. My goal is for them to is just to try to get them to walk this journey with me.
Yep.
You know.
So ultimately,
just
it
try to
comes
do
down
that.
to that respect and communication. You know,
Yeah.
having that, trying to have that as best as possible.
It's easier said than done. At
Yeah,
the end of
yeah,
the day, like
yeah.
these kids who you know that you guys are having walked through these doors who are having to navigate, I'm sure, situations that are different to mine, unique to their own circumstances, situation. Like what I say is probably might not apply to them, or it may apply to them, but whatever the situation is, it's like it's no matter what it is, it's easier said than done. But don't be like afraid to put it out there, have the conversation, and you know, just try to have that courage to have that conversation.
Word. So you get through that kind of hurdle that's going on in your personal life, and focus your energy into what you're doing. And you said even now, like 5 years doing this full time, paying the bills, never missed a bill. Before we even go into the idea of how that might happen for an artist, especially in Australia, when do you think like the moment was where you went, I can do this full time, or like where you kind of like something clicked and you noticed like, all right, the attention's on me. Like now things have changed. It's more than just like a passion now.
Yeah,
you know?
and I would say like it's never an easy decision, and it's not one that I did like without thought. You know, I never was like, okay, under the illusion that I could make it as an artist and I'm good. Like, you know, life is sweet. Like I'm living a dream, and it's like,
Hot tubs,
yeah, like,
bubbly.
yeah, it's like that's the music video, bro. Like,
Yeah.
what's the day-to-day reality? You
Straight
know,
up.
I never bought into that illusion. I was like, okay, well, you know, what's gonna be the day-to-day reality, and how can I make it a reality? And also, you know, I never had a really big breakout moment. You know, like I never blew up. You know, in how kids
Yeah.
think about
But
what blowing up is.
Yeah, 100%.
So
100%. I
my-
think there would be some moments. So like
Yeah,
for,
there's
for me, a moment, and like I was following you before this moment. But for me, like it was something when Elephant Tracks signed you.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah.
When Elephant Tracks, who a very respected local independent label, went, that's our next signing.
And respectfully though, like I could say without fronting, like there are very few artists in this country, independent in the hip hop game, who are able to do this full time.
Yep.
And so, you know,
Straight
it was
up.
a very strategic decision for me. So I was working full time, well, part time. I worked part time here at Street Uni for about 4 or 5 years. Then I moved to Melbourne after university. I worked part time over there for a couple of years, and then also full time there for a year. And it got to a point where literally every other weekend or every weekend I was touring somewhere. So I would have, and then luckily I lived close to the airport where I was renting in Melbourne. I lived
Yeah.
close to the airport because it was like 10 minutes down the road. I could just finish up work, hop on a plane, you know, Friday afternoon, play a show Friday, Saturday, come back Sunday, and then back to work on Monday. And that was the routine for like a good 6 months or something like that. It was just nonstop. And so by the end of, or 3/4 into that year of that full-time job, it was quite clear that I couldn't be in two places at once, but also that I was earning enough money to step away. Like again, I'm not good with numbers, but I did like a basic crunching of numbers, and I was like, I can manage. Um, and so I moved. I pulled away from that job, moved back to Sydney, and it just went all in. And it's been like that since. So, it wasn't just a, okay. I feel like my music's hot. Now let's go throw everything away and like let's go at it and try and make something of it. It was like work, pay the bills, nonstop focus on music, make music, do the best I can. It was like having two full-time things.
Mm.
And then when it was just literally physically impossible, but also financially viable, then I made the jump.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool, man. And living that kind of full-time music life, like what are the different streams of income that you got going on to be able to help you manage the kind of life stuff, like the bills coming in?
Yeah. So I mean, I think the biggest thing that has helped me maintain being full time is having built a brand.
Yep.
Is having built something that stands for something, that represents something that people trust, that
They
people
know what they're getting.
recognize.
They know what they're getting.
And so that makes it, easy for them, organizations, companies, brands, to be like, I know what he stands for and represents, so let's work with him. I know what I'm gonna get, and I got a track record of pulling stuff off at a high level and at a respectful level that people constantly come to me as a, and again, that's a blessing. It's not, I'm not saying that just to be like, yeah, but I'm cool. Like, I'm saying that as a blessing.
Yeah.
And so like, that's come from just being consistent about who I am and what I stand for and what I represent and what I speak up for.
And quality control.
Yeah, and quality control too, for sure. And so to your question specifically, it's like, yeah, working with different brands, working with different organizations. I do workshops as well here and there. Touring plays a big part until COVID hit, obviously. Writing songs, commissions, like there's just a whole bunch of different ways that I'm able to kind of maintain and sustain, and also just music getting picked up by TV and
Beautiful.
movies and like that.
All the
helps
publishing
a lot.
stuff, the
Yeah,
syncs.
that helps a lot. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a bit of everything, and every now and then you get a big job. Like it just makes life easy.
Yeah. Has COVID-19 really impacted your ability to be a full-time artist? So you still surviving and like we're
Yeah.
good?
Yeah, I'm still good.
Yeah,
The
good.
first couple months was definitely like, okay, how can we adjust?
Yep.
Because touring, it wiped out touring.
Which is a huge
huge.
part of the income coming in.
Huge part.
Yeah.
So it took that out, and got to realize, like, before COVID, I was literally touring nonstop for maybe 4 years straight.
Yeah.
Like.
Yep.
So it was a huge part of not just my financial life, but my life generally.
Yep.
So that disappeared, and just coming back into that now. So yeah, it was just about adjustments. I put out an album during COVID, and was able to just create and be grateful to get opportunities again because of the brand that I built. That meant that through COVID, we've been all right. We've been good. My team and I have been good.
Good to hear, man.
It's just been steadily growing.
And you talked about kind of providing a product and a brand that other brands felt comfortable kind of associating with and working with. One of the ones that pops into my head immediately is I know you did some really close work with YouTube, and you want to explain to them what that kind of relationship was like,
Yeah,
and how
for
that
sure.
came about.
Bro, that was the biggest trip, because like I was involved with YouTube for a couple years. I got picked by them for a global program that they had called Creators for Change, which they got behind about over the course of the 2 years. I think about 60 different people from around the world who were like making content on YouTube. Travel vloggers, comedians. I was probably, I think, one of 3 or 4 musicians. Just a range of different people, personalities, and supported them to make what they wanted to make, that presented shit that that they were happy to get behind, like positive shit, you
Yeah,
know. And
yeah.
and it was a big affirmation for me because like I make music with a message, like I try to make music that's going to give people something more than just a good time. I want people to have a good time,
Yeah.
but I also want people to get something out of it. I want to make timeless music and music that people can live with. And so that for me throughout the course of my career, I've always had people in my ear like, bro, you need to make this type of song or that type of song, like to get more commercial, or you need to make something a bit more hard edge like this, or whatever. Like this is the style, and now like you need to do something like this. And I've always been like, but that's not me.
You ever thought about drill, bro? You ever thought about
Yeah,
drill?
like I've had people. I'm like, but that's not me. I respect that
Yeah,
enough
straight
to
up.
know that I can't front.
Yeah.
I can't pretend to be something I'm not. And when I was working here, that was one of the big messages for anybody coming in that we were working with. Was like, bro, you got to be who you are.
Yep.
You can't be something you're not. There's too many imitations out there, but there's no one you. Like, be
That's,
you.
that's the easiest way to be original is be
Yeah.
yourself.
And so when I got this email from an email address at google.com, I was like, is this spam? Like, what is this that I've been
Imagine if you put that in the spam folder and deleted
Bro.
that.
I was
Oh,
like, I
Lord.
came close to. I was like, what is this? I haven't even heard of this before. Like,
Yeah.
how did I even get picked for this? Like,
Yeah.
how did I even come on your radar? And then when I went through the program and, the first year I made a music video out of it, which was a lot of fun. And they flew me over to New York and premiered the music video at
Amazing.
Tribeca TV Festival.
Amazing.
And that was, it was a trip because like I'd never been to the US before. And well, I'd never been to New York before. I was in the US maybe the year before that, just to LA for a couple of days. And I'd never been to New York before, and it was at this event on a red carpet, and it was like Oprah, Trevor Noah, like, bro, I'm like, what the hell?
I'm here.
Like, what the hell? And then they played my thing in a music video in a theater in New York. I was like, man, this is crazy, home of hip hop. And I say that, but it was in Manhattan, but not, you know what I mean? But it was still in New York.
Still the home, bro. Still the home.
I was like, man, this is a trip. And so then I made sure to email YouTube and be like, because when they picked me for this program, like, I have 4,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, right? I have 4,000, and there are people in this program who got like a couple million. And I said to them literally at the beginning when they were interviewing me, after I responded to the email, I was like, why are you picking me? I was just like, I got to be honest. Like, I got 4,000 subscribers. Why are you picking me? And they were like, we don't care about how many subscribers you have, but what we do care about is your message.
The message.
And your track record in music, the quality of your music, and what you represent and what you stand
Somebody's
for.
watching. They watching, yo.
Bro.
Like, sometimes as an artist, you think like nobody's watching, or I've got this little audience here, and that's where my fan base is. But like, yo, it's things like this really prove it. Like, you never know who's watching.
Man, and I emailed them. Like, I was talking to you before about having people in your ear saying you should do this and that. And I literally emailed them after the first year, and I was like, thank you, because literally what I told you, I told them. And I said, you guys, one of the biggest companies in the world, one of the biggest platforms in the world, literally just quieted that small voice in my ear that felt empowered by all those other people saying you should do this, you should do that. And you guys picked me not for anything other than who I am, what I represent,
what
I
you're
stand
already
for.
doing.
And I was like, man, I had to say thanks to that. And then they got behind me again for a second year, and I ended up being able to perform at the UN, which is crazy.
Amazing.
Well, it was a trip. But yeah, it comes back to that point of what you were talking about before, like, how can artists do what they do and make a living from it? It's like, I think that brand is key.
So would you say, besides being at New York on the red carpet with Oprah and all that, and the UN, those are amazing moments in your career, what would be like another moment where you were like somebody pinch me? Is this real? Like, where the hell am I?
Bro, there's a lot of moments, bro. There's a lot. But the biggest
we want to
one,
hear about them.
the biggest one for me was like touring with Nas.
Oh, word.
That was the biggest one for me.
Word.
For anybody who knows hip hop, like that's one of the kings right there. and it's a crazy story. I just turned 21, and Nas was coming to Australia for his first headline tour, and I'm opening up for him, and it's Nas, Charlie Tuna from Jurassic 5, NC Supernatural, DJ Qbert, and this kid from Southwest Sydney who hasn't put out anything other than these mixtapes and EPs he's been printing at home. You know, at a time when Hilltop Hoods was reaching a certain peak, where Bliss and Esso was reaching a peak, when 360 was like all these
It's a
people.
very different landscape at the time, yo.
At the time, very different, but legitimately, any of those could have been on that, you know?
And would have accepted, most likely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm this unknown person, somehow managed to get this spot, and I'm traveling the country. My first national tour is learning
How did
from
that
some
come
of the
about?
greats.
How did that come about? Amazing.
Well, there's a story to it. There's two
Yeah.
stories to it. It came directly from this place.
Yeah.
From
the Street University.
Street University.
Incredible.
We had done a couple of things in that. I think it was in the first or second year. We put out the first compilation album.
Yep.
And we had played a show where it was like 20 or 30 of us who were on that album. We played a festival called Sounds of Spring in Brisbane. So we all flew up there. We got to play alongside who's who of hip hop at the time. And we rocked it. It was a great experience. And by then I'd already been booked for the Nas tour. So when I went up there, I could see all the other guys. They knew who I was. You know what I mean? They were like, "Who?
That's that guy that got the Nas tour.
That's the guy.
That's him. Get him. Get him."
So it was funny. That was funny. But
they were like, "Yo, you need a hype man?"
No, they were probably trying to check who is this guy and why. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hip hop's competitive, bro. Especially in that era, it
competitive
was
sport.
so competitive.
It's a competitive sport, you know. Still is. Still is. Yeah.
And so, you know, we had that show, but we also got the opportunity through networks that had been built in the course of trying to set up Street University from a music program standpoint, release standpoint. And the other side of that story was like my manager now, who I had only just met once at the time. I didn't know him personally that well. He gave the promoter, he runs a media company, he gave the promoter a great deal on advertising if they'd put me on. And so like he didn't know me, he didn't know who but he was like, when I found out that story, and this was maybe 4 or 5 years later, and we were really getting to know each other, he didn't tell me the story, someone else told me the story. And
He wasn't even working with you at this stage?
No.
What
And
a good guy. I love this
said,
guy.
I said, thank you. And he was like, bro, my daughter was a fan of you, and my wife loved you. Like, we love what you stand for. Again, what you stand for, what you represent. We just want
It keeps coming back to that, yo. It
We
keeps
just wanted
coming
to
back to
support
that.
you. And so I got that opportunity. And so then I was playing with Nas, and, you know, it was a great tour. We had it was all facilitated through here. So, like, Tommy Rock, who used to work here, was my DJ.
Big shout out, Tommy.
From Death Wish Cast. Psy One, who was working from here as well,
Big shout out,
was
Psy,
with me on
yeah.
that tour. And we had Vogue One, who came through the first year of Street University, did a lot of recording here. Clash, who came through here as well. Like, we were on that tour. Like, it was crazy. And
So Street University locking in young people to get on the Nas tour.
Bro.
Like, time to step up our game, people.
yeah,
We got to
year
get
one-
back to that.
Wait, hang on. Year 1 and 2, was it year 1, 2, or 3? It was like Chuck D, Public Enemy, Dead Perez, Nas tour, KRS-One.
What's going on, people? What's happening?
Well, it was crazy time. But yeah, I mean, to your question, the moment really for me on that tour was the Sydney show, because that was the last show on that tour. And I remember standing side of stage watching Nas, and literally I could have taken one step forward and been on stage. And by then I'd gotten to know his band. And so, you know, I was literally standing next to his band members, and we were just like rocking out together as they're performing with Nas. And he's still in my top 5. You know, he at that time was a huge inspiration for me. He still is. And that was the only show on the tour that they let us stay backstage. Because remember I told you, like, no one knows who I am. And even, you know, in some of these cities, the soundies and people who work backstage don't know me. And
yeah.
they were like, "Who is this guy?"
Yeah.
They didn't let us stay backstage. We
Yeah.
perform, we take all our bags and
That happens.
shit, and then they're like,
happens a lot.
"Get
It's
out of
like
here!"
the
Like,
headline act's coming through. Everybody
Yeah,
clear
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Get on out of here.
and so some shows we didn't even get a sound check. Some
Yeah.
shows we had people like messing with the gear. Like it was a crazy thing.
Yeah.
But by Sydney, we earned everyone's respect, and so they let us hang
Word.
backstage, and we were cool with everyone, and so that was a real moment to be standing side of stage
Yeah.
with an icon of hip hop rocking the stage, and I'm just like, in that moment, I was like, man, if I'm doing this at 21, I haven't even started yet, bro, I need to keep going.
Things
Like,
are in a good direction.
yeah, I need to
Yeah.
really do this.
Well, I'm glad that was a huge inspirational moment for you, and that you continued on. Did so many more great things after that. Like you said, there's so many moments that even I'm aware of, and I'm sure there's plenty that I'm not. But one of them that I'd love you to talk about is when you kind of went over to India and did some work over there with MTV, and
Yeah, that was
and
great.
did some real big moves. Like we were getting that stuff sent over here, just going like, "Yo, L is killing it. What's going on?"
Man, that was surreal. Like, and there's always a long story to everything. Nothing comes out of nowhere. I mean, my team and I would try for maybe 3 or 4 years to do music in India before we actually got an opportunity we were really happy with. And we had a couple of opportunities we could have taken in the lead up to that. But like you said earlier, sometimes, like you said, quality control.
Yep.
You got to try to recognize what's good for you at the time and what might not be. And
Yeah.
I'm glad we waited, because that meant that the first opportunity that we got wasn't even MTV India. Like it was, I had an opportunity and built up a relationship with an actor from India called Abhay Deol, who's, star over there. I don't know how he became a fan of my music. We connected and just been having conversations, and it just got to a point where I was like in a position where I could fly over there, and he was like, he always wanted to do a music video together. So he was like, come over. I was like, sweet. I just got to figure out how to fund it. Once I figured that out, we got over there. We shot a couple of music videos, and we took a bunch of meetings, like just met the music industry folk, just tried to really understand how it works.
It's a
over
huge industry.
there.
Like I don't think Australians can't really get their head around that. Like the Indian industry is just like you get a little percentage of that. It's bigger than all of Australia.
Let me put it this way: like we learned very fast over there. One guy said to us, if a song comes out by one of the bigger artists in the country and it doesn't hit 21 million streams by 3 days, it's considered a fail.
Wow.
3 days.
Here you'd be like,
Yeah. 3 days, bro. So
yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
That just put things into perspective in terms of how fast they work.
Did you hit the
what
21 million
turnover?
streams in 3 days?
Bro, hell
Oh,
no. Not at
man.
that level, bro.
We'll get there. We'll
But-
get there.
They're really fast paced. The way they work is
Yeah.
different. The energy they move with is different.
Yeah.
Completely different way of how the music industry is structured and how to go about doing things. So it's a big learning curve. But while we were over there, we just do what we do. We do good business and we meet people. And then, they were like, we hooked up this opportunity through just conversations that we were having to perform on the show. And the show was called MTV Hustle. Hip hop, when we were there, was just booming. There was a movie that came out called Gully Boy, which was a Bollywood movie that focused around, it was loosely based on the lives of a couple of hip hop artists from over there.
Yep.
Movie went crazy. So the artists whose lives were based on, like that movie was based on, and some of whom were independent artists who were actors in there, they all started blowing up. And so here comes this TV show, MTV Hustle, which was literally like Australian Idol, but for rappers.
Yep.
In India, they're trying to find the next big rap star, and they invited me to perform as a guest on the show. So, that was a vibe. We went out there, performed, and people just went crazy, bro. Like, the energy was next level. Like, it just made me realize, like, how important it is to, when you're performing, to people who culturally get you as well. Like when you have mass who culturally understand you, it's a different feeling, bro. Like it feels like it's automatic. Like when we performed, when it's not just you perform and you have to be it's a given. You not just have to be talented, you have to be good, you have to
Yep.
be dope, like all
Yep.
that. But then there's another thing that happens then when they can see themselves in you,
When it's here, yeah.
and it just clicks on a whole other level. And they were just eating it up, bro. Like it was crazy. And we performed, and the show was judged by some icons of music in hip hop and electronic music over there, and they were just like, respect. Literally, as soon as I got off stage, they were like, you have to come back and guest perform at the grand final in 3 months' time. And I was like, yeah, you pay for the flights, I'm here. And literally, that's what happened. So we went back and did it all over
Flights, a
again.
comp per diem.
Yeah,
And let's
we
throw
did
another
it
couple
again,
of stacks
bro.
on top of that.
And we did it again. Like it was crazy. And that was at the time, the biggest reality TV show. I mean, it was streaming.
Yeah,
Well, not
dope.
streaming. It was on TV to an audience of 30 million plus.
That's crazy.
Like it was surreal. And it's an amazing place, bro. It's just the language, the culture, like it inspired me like crazy. I never would have thought as a kid growing up in Southwest Sydney, especially the time that I grew up in, that making music in your language would have been cool.
Yep.
You know, at a time when growing up here, it was actively discouraged to speak your own language. To then go to a country where there's a show that 30 plus million people watch every night, where people are performing in different languages in rap, and people are going crazy.
ਇਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ ਨਾ ਲਖਪਤ ਰਾਏ ਨੇ, ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਗੁਣ ਨਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿਣ ਦਿਓ, ਰੋੜੀ ਆਖੋ ਭੇਲੀ ਆਖੋ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਬੋਲੀ ਖਤਮ ਕਰ ਦਿਓ, ਆਪੇ ਹੀ ਖਤਮ ਹੋ ਜਾਣਗੇ। ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, ਇਹ ਵੀ ਇੱਕ ਬੜਾ ਗਹਿਰਾ ਵਿਸ਼ਾ ਪਰ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਬੋਲੀ ਨਾਲ ਮੁਹੱਬਤ ਹੈ, ਪਿਆਰ ਹੈ। ਅਸ਼ਫਾਕ ਦਾ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹੈ, and you may say, oh well, he's speaking in English while talking about Punjabi. I'm only speaking in English to speak to you, so that you can learn your mother tongue, fall back in love with Punjabi. When you start giving up your language, that is when you will start giving up who you are.
You know, I guess one of the things that I wanted to touch on is, I know recently I was reading that you were banned from Twitter over in that region, and I know it's because you've become really, really active and really connected to a cause. You want to explain that cause a little bit and what you've been involving yourself with?
Yeah, look, man, I won't dive too much into it because people can check online for it, and it gets deep. But essentially, you know, there was a couple of things that I think I got banned for. So like my account is like withheld from audiences in India. So which means that what I've been posting hasn't been a breach of any like of Twitter's policies or anything like that. So they haven't taken any of my stuff down. It's just that the government of India, with one of their laws, that anything that they find offensive, they can deem it as illegal. And so what they've been doing in the past few months especially has been just kind of forcing social media companies, especially Twitter, to like withhold content in India from accounts that are critical of the government over there. And bro, I ain't been saying radical shit. Like I'm just talking about like, you know, there's a farmers protest movement happening over there, has been for 6 months, which is near and dear to my heart because, you know, my family are from villages. My extended family from villages, like the music video that we put out most recently for a song called Village Boy, we shot at a village whose people are been at the protest for 6 months. And it's really just about getting behind and supporting the voices of people who are could be my uncle, could be my auntie, could be my grandparent, could be my cousin, like and them fighting for their livelihoods, you know, like against the policies that are really impacting them. And so they've literally occupied the streets of Delhi for like 6 months, and it's been super inspirational to see, and just supporting them and in their cause. But then also, you know, every year the Sikh community, which I'm a part of, we commemorate in our calendar year the Sikh genocide of 1984, which happened and sparked off at this time, so in June now, this time in 1984, and also November. so it's nothing new for the Indian government to be aware of. Like it's happened since then. Every year the community commemorates it at 2 times in the year, and we talk about it and we educate ourselves and we connect as a community. We mourn. We also celebrate the strength and resilience of the community. We all that sort of stuff. So it's nothing out of the ordinary for me to be posting what I have been posting. It just so happened to, I don't know, be a part of catch their radar, and they be like,
You're
"Nah,
on
we
the
don't want
radar
that."
now, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is probably a good thing. You're probably good that you're on the radar right now.
Man, it is what it is. Like
Yeah.
I'm not too upset about it. I mean,
Yeah.
the country's gonna do what the country's gonna do. Like I don't live there, so I'm fortunate.
Is that
in
going to prevent you
regard.
from doing future business there, like traveling over there? And,
I don't know. I mean,
perform?
I have to be, every time I think about traveling to India, especially in recent times, I have to be smart about it.
Yeah.
Just prepare, because like there are, from a minority community from there, my people are minorities over there as well, and there's history of false arrests, disappearances,
Yeah.
allegations of torture, like especially for activists. So I have to be conscious of that, and so we've been conscious of that whenever I've traveled, but I think now I have to be even more conscious of that. There's a UK citizen who's being held over there at the moment, for going on 3 years without a charge being laid on him.
Yep.
Who's a sick guy. He just got married. He was on his honeymoon and just got picked up, abducted. He's been detained for 3 years. They haven't filed any charges, and he set up a website, neverforget84.com, which was just a historical archive, like newspaper clippings, video
It's
footage,
information,
like,
bro.
just information.
Suppression of information.
He was just documenting our history, bro, and because he was a part of that, they just picked him up.
Yep.
And so he's still over there, So, and again, same for him. He's been saying he's been tortured. Like, he's had to sign like blank sheets of paper, like for them to be able to write. I mean, this is what he's been saying. So, we have to be conscious of it. But I don't think I'm going over there for a little while anyway. And
Yeah.
it
Nobody's
feels-
traveling anywhere for a little while right now.
And that's Punjab is the motherland for me.
Yep.
Like my people's history, my parents, my family's history is all there, and got family over there across the region, not just Punjab and Delhi and Mumbai and across the country. And like I love the place. I dearly love the place because there's so much connection to it, and we've got I'm building with artists over there, like making collabs or writing songs. Like there's just so much stuff that is dope. It's just unfortunately it's a challenging situation, politically, and it just means that I have to be conscious of that, and just take it day by day, or
Listen,
as it
if
unfolds.
anybody can navigate it, it's you, bro.
If I get picked up though, Randy, you
I
got my
got
back.
you. I got you, bro. I know a few Jewish lawyers will come
Yeah.
in, swoop in. We got you, bro. Listen, just before we get on out of here, I just want to just kind of go back to your connection to the Street University and educate those youngins who maybe weren't around back in the day. So how did you first kind of come across the Street Uni, and what was your first involvement here?
Yeah, so again, there's the story before the story. Like I did a show when I was about 16, just down the road at Liverpool Migrant Resource Center,
Nice.
and a woman who booked me for that, who was working at the time, Naomi, who a couple years later,
the name sounds
Yeah.
familiar. Naomi.
couple years later, gives me a call. She says, "Hey, Fresh, this Naomi. You remember me from LMRC? LMRC. I just love for you to come through and I want to tell you about something that we're working on." I was like, "Oh, sweet." And so I rock up to this building, which was nothing like this. It was an empty warehouse, dead pigeons and stuff, and it was just that one upstairs office, that
Couple of
shady
milk crates.
staircase.
Couple of milk crates.
I walk in, I'm like, "What the hell is this place, bro? Where they taking me?" I went upstairs, and she told me and introduced me to Matt, and they told me about this idea of the Street University, and was like, we'd love for you to come be involved and check out our first workshops and help us, get some people to come check it out. And so I was like, sweet. And I remember the first gig that we did, here was that empty warehouse. Myself, Monkey Mark, and Elf Transporter, and my mate Shiv. Like it's just a few of us just performing. It was like probably 10, 15 people here, And then I just saw the place come to life, like from that warehouse to being a part of the journey to see this all be built. And when it was all newly built, walking through here, it smelled like fresh paint, and just seeing all the furniture come in, and then being a part of the team to bring it all to life, like to work on what was going to be the program in here. I was here for about 4 or 5 years working, from day one when the doors opened, just putting stuff on here, running the studio here with Mystery, 6 Pound, Cy One, Tom Rock. There's a whole crew of us, Delise. Like there's a lot of people who'd come through.
History. 12 years of history, bro.
Yeah, man, and it's crazy. Like, we used to do the most random stuff. I mean, for us, it was all about, and for me, it was all about music, and it was all about just using music to give people a shot, and for some it wasn't music, it was graffiti. For some it was breakdancing. For some it was DJing. For some it was basketball. Like whatever it was, there was somebody here that could help you and could be there for you. And people like Rankster, who passed away, rest in peace, whose spirit lives on in this place in terms of the energy that he set and the tone that he set for people to come in here and have fun and connect with one another. Like it was a beautiful time just to be able to be in this place and see all the people come through and then see what they made of themselves, like we had. And then like now to be, however many years removed, and see again just still the impact it's having on people and artists' careers, from your 1-4, A Girl, Jessica J, like just the quality of people who have touched or walked through the walls of this space, Mount Druitt, wherever it might be, to see what they're doing, to see the impact that, Soul Benefits are having in Mount Druitt, with Zerish and what he's doing for the space, has been doing for the space. Like Esky, just so many people and what they've contributed, and for this to be at the time when it came about, like one of one. There weren't that many other services doing what it was doing, to now it just be a so common part of the landscape that Street University exists, that for kids it's just, you know what I mean? Like it's here when previously there was nothing of its kind like it, and it just I know it means a lot to the community and to people.
Word.
So it's been great to see the evolve.
I stay faithful, faithful every day. No matter how, every day, faithful every day. I stay faithful, faithful every day. No matter how, every day, faithful every day. I stay faithful, faithful every day. No matter how, every day, faithful every day. I stay faithful, faithful every day.
The history's the future, it repeats like the barrel of a gun. Here it comes, full circle to hurt you, I never run. Some stare at the sun, trying to absorb the light. You turn their heads to the struggle and ignore the fight. I recognize the lives of my people on the street trying to eat too. Was told, my son, they're out to beat you, so careful who you speak to, cause they tend to cling at least to teach you wrong and then unleash the beast in you. But I see the real in the eyes of those that you judge, understand the plight of those that are addicted to drugs. See, a child is a child, we all starve the same, trying to evolve from rats to escape from this racing game. I'm taking aim at myself, I say I'm faithful as hell. My ears to the streets, cause we got a story to tell. When best to listen, cause wisdom got me living to learn. Time to take a step back and give your people a turn. I stay faithful, though the road may be long. I stay faithful, in my belief to carry on. I stay faithful, though tomorrow may never come. Still I wait for the day we can return to the sun. I stay faithful, though the road may be long. I stay faithful, in my belief to carry on. I stay faithful, though tomorrow may never come. Still I wait for the day we can return to the sun. I stay faithful.
Word from doing shows at an empty, dead pigeon-filled warehouse of 10 to 15 people down there, to traveling overseas, to getting nominated for ARIA awards. It really has been an incredible journey, and it's been a pleasure kind of watching it from the sidelines and being able to kind of give you a pound and say what's up and check in on you, and also having you here back with us at the Street
Rainy,
University.
I feel like
man.
I feel like there might be a story. I can't remember if I ever, because bro, I remember early on in my career when I started getting shows. It would have been after the Nas tour. I was hustling all these promoters to try and get on hip hop bills, and I can't remember if I ever like hit you on an email, cold email.
I'm sure.
Hey, Randy,
I'm sure there
or
was.
through MK1 or Miro, it was someone who knows you to
Man,
try and get a.
I'm sure there were numerous times. One thing that I kind of remember is and this is pretty early on. It wasn't like super duper early on, but I do remember like I was a judge on the Hilltop Hoods annual competition.
Yeah.
And the entries were coming in, and they hit us off every year. It was like, brr, listen to all these entries. It was
Yeah.
like, why did I commit to this? But I do remember like your entry coming through, and this was like before Elephant Tracks. This
Wow.
was before everything, and I was kind of like, yo, what is this? This is straight hot
Yeah,
fire.
wow. That's funny.
Yeah, and it was like, obviously there's a lot of judges. It was a bit of a shock as to why we didn't get you through that time, but I was just like, yo, this shit right here is hot.
But that gave me a lot of energy, bro. Like those because I applied, I think maybe 3 or 4 years, and I never got it right. And whenever like this was one of the things I learned early on was like, a disappointment isn't a dead end. It's like it's actually an
straight up.
opportunity.
Straight
Like,
up.
and I would use it as motivation to get better. Like I remember very clearly one year, it might have been the last time I applied for that when I didn't get it. But then after that, I felt like I was on my way, and I didn't feel like I needed it as much as I did the couple of times that I did apply. But I remember very clearly being like, after that last time, saying I need to get to a point where I make music that's undeniable.
The thing is this too, like this I always talk to young people about. This is like, even if you don't win those things, it's a win for a number of reasons. It motivates you to get stuff done, but also you gotta remember, like if there was like 6 or 7 judges that year that you applied or whatever, yo, you were immediately on the radar of those 6 people, and generally the judges they chose were like people that were gatekeepers or people that were making moves,
Right.
So it's like, you like, how? Oh, who's this? And Raph and everybody else who was involved in that, kind of going like, maybe you didn't get through to win because you didn't get number 1 on everyone's, but you hit that radar, bro.
Exactly.
And immediately you asserted yourself as a serious artist,
Yeah, man. It's always like, that's the thing too, is realizing that in a journey, on a career, not everything's gonna go your way.
Listen,
You
I
know what
felt
I mean?
really good, I have to say, because you were definitely in my top 3, and I'm pretty sure you were number 1. It felt really good when I saw the signing from Elephant Tracks come through,
Right.
and I was like, yo, Randy's right again. Should listen to Randy.
That's funny, bro. That's funny.
Word up. Well, listen,
Well,
it's been an
bro.
absolute pleasure
Yeah,
having
it's
you
been
here,
an
and I'm sure there's gonna be plenty of times where we get you in the hot seat again, and your legacy here in this building and at this service, Street University, is forever connected, bro. So we'll see plenty more of you in the future, bro.
No doubt. Love my bro. Appreciate it.
Word. All right, yo, we out of here like Vladimir. This is Street Talk here on the Street University Live. Make sure you tune in soon, and make sure you check this dude out right here. How do they catch you on the socials, bro?
It's Al Fresh the Line on everything: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Not if you're in India, but you can't get me on TikTok and Twitter if you're in India.
If you're trying to find them on Twitter in India, it ain't happening. All right, yo, we out of here. We'll speak to you guys soon. Check it out. Peace.